Okay, I'm ready. What's up, you guys? Sorry about the wind. I don't know if this is gonna go up. It depends on the sound quality. But hi, long time no talk. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Kiana. If you guys don't know, and if you do know, welcome. Thanks for sticking with me on this journey. So, big transition, everybody. I left Jacksonville. As a lot of you guys know, I identified last year as the absolute worst year of my life. Gained like 30 pounds because of medication, got diagnosed with bipolar disorder, got hospitalized twice because of suicidal ideations and actually actively trying to take out myself. Um, was not happy with my job, was not happy with where I lived, was not happy in Jacksonville. And eventually I was just like, you know what? I need to start over. There's too many outgoing factors into why I'm so depressed, along with the chemical imbalance with my brain. So, despite the fact that I am 29 this year, 30 next year, I was like, I'm just going to start over. So, I left Jacksonville. I'm officially at my brand new apartment in Austin, Texas, and let me tell you, I love it here. I love the weather, love my apartment. I'm honestly doing a lot better. I can't say that I'm happy in the way that I have experienced in the past, but I want to be happy, which is a lot better than where I was when I was in Jacksonville, because I didn't even want to be happy. I didn't even want to be alive. So I feel like this move has been really, really good for me. When I first got introduced to Christianity, I was visiting my dad, and not first introduced, but more like reintroduced to Christianity. I had just visited my dad in Jacksonville, and eventually I ended up giving up this job opportunity traveling to stay in Jacksonville and kind of learn more about Jesus and who he was. And so I just kind of got stuck in Jacksonville. I never wanted to stay there, never wanted to live there. That was just kind of the place I ended up. And I remember so many times I would pray about it, I would cry about it, I would fast about it because I just didn't want to be there. And I was waiting for God to give me like an audible yes or just a sign that it was okay for me to leave. And since I never got that, I just stayed there. I felt like God's will had nothing really to do with my happiness, at least not in the short term plan. I don't really feel that way anymore. I actually don't really follow Christianity anymore. I wouldn't call myself a Christian. I'm not even going to label myself as anything. I'm not even going to get into faith-based stuff. But that was the reason why I stayed in Jacksonville. And so when all the things were happening last year, when I started deconstructing, when my mental health took a deep dive into the ocean, when I finally came out of that, I was like, you know what? I'm so fucking miserable here. I felt like I had very little support in the ways that I needed it. Sometimes you have people, but those people cannot support you in the way that they need. I got met with a lot of spiritual bypassing. I got met with a lot of you should just have more faith in God. A lot of you just have to trust his will. His ways are higher than our ways. And a lot of those things caused me to turn away even further away from Christianity. And they just weren't helpful to me. And so I was like, okay, I have family here. I have some friends here. But if I'm not getting the support I need, I'm not happy in this city, why am I even staying here? And in that moment, I was just like, you know what? Like, I'm not fucking staying here another year. And those were my exact words. I was like, God, I am not fucking staying here another year. Hear me. If I have to stay here another year, I will kill myself. And I meant that. And as you can see, I got the freak up out of there. And I'm better for it. So I ended up choosing Texas because I was bedridden. I could not get out of the bed. And the only thing that I would watch was Yellowstone, Landman, and just something about the country feel really stuck out to me. I felt like I would be happier in like a country area, but I still wanted the city. So I started looking at Tennessee and Texas specifically because I didn't really want to leave the South. The South is kind of affordable. It's in my budget range. I would love to move out to the West Coast eventually, but the cost of living there is really high, but it's gorgeous up there. But so that's why I was wanting to stay in the South. I even thought about the Carolinas, but I just wasn't happy with like the cities I was seeing there. I really liked the idea of Tennessee. I was thinking about Nashville, but I didn't really like what I was seeing when I was researching. I was researching things to do. I was researching like scenic areas. Is there water? Is there hiking? Are there rooftop lounges? Like there was a lifestyle I was envisioning for myself that I kind of had in Las Vegas when I lived there that I wanted to find here. And I couldn't really find that in Nashville, couldn't really find that in the North or the South Carolinas. Where I could find that though was here in Texas, mostly Austin. Everything I researched about Austin, I just kind of loved. I loved that there was like a huge natural spring. It's called Bartram Springs. You can go there. I haven't been yet, but I can't wait to go. The cost of living in Texas is like a lot lower. It's a little bit higher than what it was in Florida. So that really turned me away from Tennessee also. I, gosh, why did I choose this place? Oh, horses. I wanted horses. Also, I decided I wanted to marry a cowboy. I was like, you know what? I want to marry a cowboy. And I started envisioning this man, manifesting, I guess you could say, this tall, muscular man with a mustache, who was bulky, big shoulders, big chest, straight leg jeans, boots. And I was like, where can I find that if not Texas? Now, I've been here almost a month. Have not found that yet. Everybody's like, oh, you should have went to Fort Worth or Dallas if that's what you were looking for. And I was like, yeah, but like those cities didn't have what I wanted. They didn't have like a good downtown area. They didn't have rooftop lounges. I didn't really see a lot of day spas. Those were things I was kind of envisioning for myself that I saw a lot of here in Austin. And I was like, no, this is a place where I want to be. So those were kind of some of the reasons why I wanted to move to Austin. I also quit my job in the medical field. So if anybody's thinking about moving to another state and you're trying to figure out what to do with your job, I was fortunate enough to be working for a very large hospital corporation. I worked for Ascension, St. Vincent. If you're in Pensacola, it's called Sacred Heart. Jacksonville, they call it Ascension St. Vincent. Here in Austin, it's called Del Seton or Del Seton or something like that. And I didn't know that, but so I was able to just transfer my job from Jacksonville to Austin. Didn't even miss a pay period. Everything lined up perfectly for me to just make that jump. So that's what I did. I applied to the inner networking positions, got hired, got a leasing agent, had her give me a list of apartments. The apartments I'm staying at now, before I knew I was going to move to Austin, and it was kind of just like a dream in my head, I fell in love with this particular apartment. But I didn't know if I was going to be able to afford it, didn't know if I would get approved, didn't know anything about it, didn't even know if it was in a good area. Tell me why when my leasing agent sent me a list of apartments that were in a good area, that were all the things I wanted, the apartments I had been looking at before I met her was like third on the list. I didn't even look at the other apartments. I was like, nope, that's the apartment I want. I fell in love with all the floor plans, the layouts, the amenities. As you can see, I have a very awesome pool, gym. They have community activities here. So that's how I found my apartment. I didn't even get to see it, didn't get to tour it, nothing. It was a completely blind move. For lack of a better word, it was a big, big leap of faith. But I would say I still wasn't happy working in the medical field. I wasn't happy at all. It was very, very draining. So I decided that I was going to go back to waiting tables. Now, say what you want about the hospitality industry, say what you want about serving, but it is one of the most low maintenance jobs you can work and still potentially make a lot of money. It's the only job I know where you can clock in for like 4 to 5 hours and potentially make $600 unless you have some really big fancy degree. So I decided to go back to waiting tables because I never had a problem with working in the hospitality industry. I can tell you right now, I think I let people pleasing and wanting to like please my parents and wanting them to see that I had like a real job affect my decision in going to the medical field rather than just staying in what was making me happy and what was financially supporting me and has been supporting me my whole life. So I would say if you're going to start over, tell nobody. Like, tell nobody. When I was telling people I was going to move to Texas, everybody and their mama, and I mean everybody in their mama, had something almost negative to say about it. One person was like, "Oh, are you sure that's God's will for you?" Or at one point, I didn't think I was going to be able to do it, and I was telling a friend how disappointed in it I was, and she was like, "Oh, well, I knew that wasn't going to happen as soon as you said it. Joke's on you because I'm here." But I got a lot of that pushback. Even my dad kind of used like God as a cover up and was like, "Well, if you're saying that's the Lord's will for you and you prayed about it and you got a yes, girl." I threw his will aside. I threw him aside, and I was like, I'm going because I need to be happy. Like, I need to not be miserable anymore. I cannot live like this. So definitely, if you're struggling with mental health and you feel like you're not even happy in the area you're in, move. You can be miserable anywhere. Pick a place where like you have the potential to be happy. You know what I'm saying? If you have bipolar disorder, if you have depression, that it may or may not ever go away. But what you can do is you can change your outside circumstances to potentially get to a better place in your inner man, if that makes sense. And so that's what I did. But so I just stopped telling people because people weren't happy for me. Not really, it didn't seem like it. And I was like, damn, like y'all are some haters. Like, you guys know, like, this has been the worst year of my life. I tried to kill myself 4 times. Like, why aren't you happy for me? So that really sucked. The only person that was really happy for me was my mom. Shout out if you're watching this, Mom. She was like, I fully support it. She was like, go. When I told her I didn't think I was gonna go, she was sad for me. She was like, I think you should go. And I'm glad I did go. As far as transportation and how I got here, I thought about getting a moving truck, but the cost of the truck was like $1,800, and I was okay to pay that, but the amount of things I had did not equal out to $1,800. It was like less than $1,000. So I was like, okay, so financially it's not smart for me to take my things, and everything I got was cheap from Amazon, or I had gotten it from like family. So I just sold everything on Facebook Marketplace, and I just called it a day. The only thing I didn't sell was my couch because my dog had ruined it, and I was like, I'm not selling this couch to anybody. So me and my bestie, we just moved it out on the side of my street the day I left, and that was it. I sold my bed frame to my neighbors. Actually, I gave it to them because I needed to get it out of the apartment because I was leaving, and I was like, I need someone to take this bed. Do you guys want this bed? And they looked at it and they were like, hell yeah. So I gave it to my neighbors. Love them. Shout out to them. And I packed up all my clothes. It was about 4, 5, 6 boxes. I did not have room for one box. So that one box, I just shipped it here. Everything else, threw into my car. Even my dog. I don't even want my dog, but like threw him in the car too because I couldn't abandon him. He's in my apartment right now. He was crying when I left, looking at me like I was crazy, and I was like, I'm leaving. I'm going to the pool. It's my off day. I'm going to the pool. And like that was it, honey. I just threw everything in that Jeep. My 26-year-old Jeep. It's a 2,000-year-old Jeep, and I drove 15 hours from Jacksonville to Austin. And you guys, I'm telling you, the day I got here, there was just like a switch. It was like my nervous system could relax. I could breathe again. I started showering daily again. My self-care improved. I didn't feel so heavy anymore. Like living in Jacksonville, I just felt like there was just a dark cloud there. Like the whole city was just like, it was not sunny. And you know, Florida is the sunshine state, but like for me, it was all storm clouds and just foggy and gray, and I was just like, I can't stay here. When I got here to Austin, that completely changed, and I'm so happy for it. But like I said, I was still stuck in this job in the medical industry, staring at a screen all day. I'm inside all day. I'm sitting on my bottom. I'm getting fat. I was like, I can't do this anymore. So I felt like the best thing I could do was go back to the hospitality industry and go wait tables and go hit 10,000 steps a day and talk to people outside of medical necessity. The medical field is so motherfucking draining, you guys. It is so draining. I have never worked a job, okay? I have never worked a job that demanded as much out of me as the medical field did. Truly. And I used to work 7 days a week for like 16-hour days when I was working my travel job, because I worked on a cruise line. And when you work on a cruise line, the vacation don't stop for the guests. They're on vacation 24/7. So you're on your feet damn near 24/7. but I was in the best shape of my life. I was making $2,000 to $3,000 every 2 weeks, hitting my steps, traveling, got to see all over America. Like, I have been to so many different states. Like, I was just looking back at a past version of my life before I was a Christian, and I was like, damn, like, I was way happier back then. And there's a couple different things that go in with that. It's not just that Christianity ruined my life, even though that's how I kind of feel. I do feel like I let a lot of things go, though, that made me happy for the sake of trying to please God, please my parents, do the right thing. And eventually the cost of denying self and dying self turned just into that. I was a shell of myself. I'm still trying to figure out who I am from that. But all in all, I'm doing a lot better now. Like, I'm just doing so much better now. And a part of the reason I wanted to come here, cosmetology school. When I lived in Vegas and I was broke and I didn't have a car and I had just broken up with a guy I was going to get married to, yes, because your girl was going to marry a guy once, I decided that I really loved skincare because I was a big self-care girl. I was all into hair. I was all into skin, clearing up the skin, taking care of the skin. My self-care routine, honey, unrivaled. Sugar scrubs, body lotions, oils, deep conditioning, nails. Like, y'all, I was that girl in my early 20s, okay? Like, I wish somebody would have told me in my early 20s that I was that girl, but I was that motherfucking girl, okay? And I was like, you know what? I was happy doing those things. And I decided back then in Vegas that I wanted to go to estheology school, but I was like, how am I going to pay for it? That's how I got into cruising. That's how I got into sailing. I was like, I'm going to go, I'm going to make this money, I'm going to stack this bread, I'm going to come back to Vegas, I'm going to buy a car, I'm going to aesthetic school. That didn't happen because my plans got hijacked by Jesus, and I ended up miserable in Jacksonville. But when I was in the mental hospital and I finally felt some semblance of happiness, I started remembering all the things I said I wanted to do before I gave them all up to try to, like, be a Pharisee. And I was like, I want to do that. So when I was looking here in Austin, I was looking at hair schools. I was looking at schools for estheology. I was looking at how to get in the fields, and I found a wonderful school. And I have met so many people that have gone to that school, and they're like, oh, you'll love it. You'll have the time of your life. I learned so many things. They taught me skin, makeup, eyebrows, lashes. And I'm like, yes, honey, I want to get into all those things and go work in a salon and girl talk all day and talk about tea and books and your situationship. Honey, like, that's me. That's me. 100%. I love that stuff. That's not work for me. That's fulfilling. So, even though I'm a college dropout, have like very little savings, had like zero money, somehow I made this move happen, and I'm better for it. So if you're watching this because you just kind of wanted to hear my story, or just clicked on it, or you want to start over in your 30s, just start over. It's never too late to just scrap the drawing board and start all over. I watched a mom with her daughter move to a different state. Single mom, you guys, she managed to do it. Nothing is impossible. And the only thing that's stopping you is you. And maybe you're in a place where, like, right now, you can't even get out the bed. Okay, stay in the bed. I'm not one of those people that tell you, well, you're depressed because you don't do that. No, you're depressed because you've got some real things going on in your life, and I'm not going to discredit that or discount that. But I am going to say, when you finally get to a place where you can get out of the bed and you can get up and you can think and you can plan again, you can make the move. When your lease ends, wherever you're at, when your lease ends, start looking at leases and wherever you want to go. Look at apartments like that. That's what I did. My lease ended in May. Timing was just on my side. May is a month where you get three paychecks. I had already paid my rent up. I had finished paying out my rent for my lease. So every paycheck I would take out $500, put it in my savings. Next check, $500, put it in my savings. Next check, $500, put it in my savings. I got a fantastic deal on this apartment. All I had to pay was $600 because I got 3 weeks free for the month of June. And I moved in towards the end of May, so I got a prorated May. So it was like $600 for me to move in here. paid that, got in the door. It was a very simple and easy transition. It is not as hard as you think it is. You do not have to have $6,000, $5,000, $2,000 saved. You do not have to have perfect circumstances. Perfect circumstances may never find you. Like, I made this move happen like 3 or 4 months post suicidal episode. Still trying to figure out the right medication for me. I've changed medication so many times. Still fighting through depression. Still fighting through suicidal thoughts. Still trying to strive for happiness. Still making changes. Like, I had so much on my plate, but I was like, no, this needs to happen because I'm miserable. Like, I'm just miserable. And I wasn't going to stay miserable because I tried it in my own life. That didn't work. I tried making Jacksonville work. It wouldn't. Like, I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll just, like, get my license here in Jacksonville and then go. Girl, the school that I was looking at going to wasn't going to open up classes till October. It's June. I was like, I'm not waiting till October to go to hair school. That's going to cause me to stay here another 2 years. So, like, again, to my point, perfect circumstances are just never going to find you. They just won't. But you can go and find a perfect circumstance, or at least something that you think will make you happier. And get this, if you hate it, you hate where you move, you can always go move back. You can go back to where you came from, or you can find a new place. That's what I said. I was like, you know what? If I don't like it here, I'm not going back to Florida. I will just go move to a new place. And now that I've been here and I've experienced the country of Austin and I've experienced the city, which I love, y'all, downtown Jacksonville has nothing on downtown Austin. I'm talking restaurants, spas, lounges, rooftops, clubs, bars. Like, it is so fun here. I have not been to 6th Street. Someone told me not to go to 6th Street. He was like, listen to me. You're a beautiful girl. You're young. You're nice. Stay away from 6th Street. And I was like, he's just saying that because he's a man and he's old enough to be my dad. Like, he's just saying that. A woman, 35 years old, told me the same thing. She was like, nah, honey, they be shooting on 6th Street. She was like, they be shooting. They be fighting. Don't get into it. And I was just like, oh, that's my tummy. I was like, I thought my boob was out. I'm sorry. But I was like, oh, I guess it is real. Maybe I should avoid 6th Street. But when I was on the boat, me and Bourbon Street were like this, honey. Bourbon Street was my girl. I literally fell in love with the guy on Bourbon Street. I almost moved to New Orleans for a guy, but he turned out to be crazy. Story time on that coming soon. But yeah, I feel a lot better. Like I said, I'm not where I want to be, but mentally I'm not where I want to be. But I'm doing a lot better. And today I'm happy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't have to go to work today. I'm off. Going back to the restaurant industry, I miss the freedom in that. I'll tell you, working 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. sucks. I was getting up at, okay, we're back. Sorry. My storage was full. At the time I was on Seroquel, and Seroquel was so sedated for me. And so I would wake up at 6 a.m., but it would take me 15 to 30 minutes to fight through the sedation to get up. I would literally have to talk myself into consciousness. Like, my body would be awake, but my mind was very much sedated. So I'm getting up at 6 a.m., fighting to wake up to get to 6:30, getting ready for 30 minutes, walking my dog, coming back into the apartment, grabbing my keys. Gotta hit traffic by 7 a.m. because traffic in Austin is no joke. I'm leaving an hour early for work so I can get there at 7:50. Okay. Mind you, driving home, it was not as bad, but like, it still was like a 30 to 40 minute drive. So it was like my whole day for the first 2, almost 3 weeks that I was here, my whole day was being eaten up by work and commute. And I was like, this is no way for me to live. Like, this isn't sustainable for me. The only days I have to like rest or do something is on the weekends. 2 days out of 5 days is not enough to live your life. I don't care what anybody tells you. It's just not for me. I wasn't gonna do it anymore. So I was like, you know what? If I go back to the hospitality industry, I might take a hit in my finances, but for the time being, it's worth it for my mental health. Not only that, I don't have to go into work most days until 4 o'clock. I get off at 10 or 11 and I come home. I can come home with anywhere between $40 to $200 on that one night. But hey, like, if you're good with budgeting and you know how to save your money, it shouldn't be an issue for you. Um, some days I get up at 11. I get up at like 9 or 10. Got to be to work at 11. I'm getting off at 4 or 5 o'clock. But to me, that's still a better trade-off than what I was doing prior, where the whole chunk of the day is eaten up by work and traffic. I live like 20 minutes from my job now. Traffic is like a non-thing. Actually, I lived 20 minutes away from the medical office I was at, but because it was like downtown, like past South Congress, traffic was just a nightmare. So those are some things that I changed, and those are some ways that I'm starting over in my 30s. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for supporting me. Thank you guys for the journey. It's been a hell of a journey, but I'm gonna enjoy the pool. I'm probably gonna do some swimming. I'm probably gonna listen to an audiobook. I don't know. What I can tell you is that this ain't water. It ain't water, folks. But don't let anything stop you. Don't let anything stop you. Everything lined up for me. There's no reason why everything can't line up for you. And yeah, guys, like I said, thank you for all the support. I love y'all. I will see y'all in the next video, whenever the next video is. Bye bye.